Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. Are you evaluating your career in real estate? Feel like you're ready for a fresh start? Or ready to take your career to the next level? This is your podcast. Welcome back to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. I'm your host, Meredith Fogel, and I am here once again with Tina Nader. Tina, welcome. So we have kind of an interesting show for you today. We have a few things to share. Tina is going to update you on what happened with the rest of the story that she shared last podcast a few weeks ago. You might remember Tina had a transaction that had fallen apart and she brought it back to life. So I want you to tell that story and tell everybody how that happened. And also talk a little bit about the mindset that you had to use, because I think a lot of agents in that situation would have given up on those people. It gets tough because we're people, we're human beings, and when we have a challenge with another human being, sometimes our inclination is to just distance ourselves and go, you know what, they're not for me, I'm not for them. You didn't give up on them. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. And then we are going to flip the script a little bit. We are going to talk a little bit about how agents can think about getting new business in the market that we are in right now. Because what we have found is that every coaching call that I am on, every conversation that I have with agents and people in the team, we're in a shifted market. And this is one where it's like the story of the rich and the poor. And the rich and the poor get more and more distant from each other in a market like this one. What happens is the people that just kind of instinctively know what to do and have a good following and have a big group of people who they interact with in a regular basis, they are in a more of a beneficial situation. I think they're just going to naturally have more people coming to them. Whereas the agent who might be newer or not really have that lead generation muscle built or have a sphere of influence that they're still building, they're going to maybe have a little bit of a tougher time. So they're going to really need to be intentional about how they're marketing themselves and how they're getting new business. So Tina's going to ask me some questions, which is kind of fun. I get to be like the guest on the podcast today about what to do. So first of all, let's go to the beginning of the conversation, which is, tell us the story of your transaction that just closed. Congratulations. This was yesterday. You had your closing, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So how'd you bring it back to life?
Okay. So how we brought it back to life was we had actually put an offer in on a house and things didn't work out, which I talked about before. But this was about a month and a half ago, and it was an off-market listing. So fast forward a few weeks and the property made it to the market. And guess what? Sat on the market. So I think that probably the sellers were thinking it wasn't such a bad offer, maybe after all, right? But we are seeing things stay a lot longer on the market, as Meredith told us the other day, and we discussed. Things are right now in the 28, 29 day.
40 as of today.
As of today?
40
Wow.
days on market, which is, it feels like a long time in our market. It's actually not a long time, but right now it's been ticking up and up and up. But yeah, as of today's check, it was 40 days on market for our market, which our wider local market is Montgomery County, Maryland. That's where I pulled that statistic.
Wow. Because I can't believe that 2 days ago. I was like, oh, it's still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it sounds a lot to me because as a new realtor, I came in and things were selling that weekend. If not that weekend, the weekend after. And now things have been sitting a lot longer. So yeah, we're learning to deal with this whole new market and trying to keep our sellers, calm and knowing like this is what's been going on everywhere. It's not just with your property.
Right. Yeah.
And what can we do to, make their listings stand out? But anyways, going back to that, I noticed that the property had been sitting on the market and I was following it and gave my buyer a call and said, hey, that property is still on the market. Is that something you'd still be interested in? Because we could try for another shot. And they were like, Ooh, I don't know. I don't think that they would even take us seriously after the last time. I'm not sure we should, really do that.
So they had some
They
self-limiting beliefs
They
that you had to get them
did.
past.
They
Interesting.
did, and I was like, I don't see it that way. I actually see it as a great opportunity for both to possibly get what they want. I was like, I feel
Nice
like
reframe.
we can come in and be the savior here, and you can probably get what you like. So I said, let me tell you something. It never hurts to ask or try. It's if you don't that you'll never know. I was like, so why don't we put in an offer together? I said, I already put in a call to the realtor just to see how things were going. And he let me know that the open houses, he had a lot of people come. However, nothing has panned out seriously from it. So, I already knew that there was nothing in his hands, at that moment. So they agreed, and we went ahead and we put the offer together and we sent it in, and it was accepted. So they ended up getting the house they really did want, and we closed in, a very short time. So I'm really happy because, again, I really felt that was the house for them. When I even saw it and I walked in there, I get this feeling sometimes after knowing my client, and this has happened a few times now for me, where I'm like, guys, I found your house. This is your house. Like, it has everything they wanted, but the feeling was just there. And I'm just so glad that everything worked out and everybody's happy now.
And you always say, like, you choose, I get these feelings. And you always say, like, I just know this. Like, I just know this. And when you know it, you're able to help other people see it too. And I think that's the great part, is how you reframed what was kind of self-limiting pessimism to like an opportunity, an optimism, and help them understand there could be something, a path forward, which is really great. Now I have a question for you. A lot of times buyers emotionally distance themselves from a property once they don't get it. Like, they're like, never mind, that wasn't the house for us. Is there anything that you did, do you think, to help them stay emotionally connected to the house?
Let me see. So, we actually put a pause on looking after that. So you're right in some ways, but that particular person, I did continue to send them listings, and I said, hey, I know you want to put a pause on this right now, and we're going to revisit it in the fall, which is what our plan was, because they were away for the summer. They're not actually even here. So this was done, remotely, which is a whole other thing. But, yeah. And I said, but I still think it's important to see what's out there, because you never know, the home that you want could come on the market. So regardless if we act on it immediately or not, let me just continue to just send you stuff that I think could be a fit for you. Not just like the entire MLS of everything, just, me kind of weeding things out and being like, what about this one? So I think I sent her like 2 that were possibilities, right? But our discussions after that house were kind of maybe we should have done this, or maybe we shouldn't have done that. It's when you reflect back on something, and, it was, well, this is how they looked at it and how I always look at it. If it's meant to be, it will happen. What's meant to be will be, right? So if it was meant to be their house, it will come back. If not, we'll find something else. And that's what I always say. I'm like, we will find the perfect home for you anyways. The more I get to know you, the more I know exactly what you want. But in this case, it was just, things didn't work out, but we did talk about, the house isn't even on the market yet, so who knows what will happen down the line. But
so you kind of kept the hope alive for them. The other thing I want to point out for the person listening is, so many times I see agents, and even though I advise against it all the time, who do exactly what you said you didn't do, which is just sending them the whole MLS, which makes people feel like you really aren't understanding what they want. You do need to curate what you send, especially in a market like this one. Sending them things that you have pre-screened based on your knowledge of what the client wants is so important right now, because guess what? You're not the only agent sending them that MLS information. They can go on Zillow and find the stuff themselves. But when you take that moment in the morning, and this should be part of your morning routine that you time block for, looking through your hot list of buyers and looking at the MLS and then thinking about each one of them. If you have to write down criteria, you can do that. if some people use AI, use GPT for this, where they have a description of what the client wants and they feed the MLS information into it and ask GPT to bubble up matches. And the reasons why those are matches, if you want to take it one step even further than that, you can load the emails with the client into GPT and ask GPT to respond in a manner that aligns with the client's personality style and write a persuasive email. People who are not naturally really great communicators, that's great for them. People that are naturally really great communicators, it's great for them too. I can't tell you how many times I think I'm a pretty good writer and I'll put something in a GPT and I'm like, oh, that's way better than what I was gonna say, especially for persuasive communication like email. But if you wanted to do that, you can, and then you're giving them a message that they know is very personalized to them and that you actually put thought into before you sent it. And it just shows how you're working hard for them. And they go, oh my gosh, Tina still got my back. Like, she's still thinking about me. She's still sending me things that might work. So when you did reintroduce the possibility of that house, it wasn't like there was a ton of water under the bridge. They were still very much in it and very much alive. So great job.
Thank
keeping
you.
that going. And great job not giving up on them. I think, like I said at the beginning, that's another thing agents do is they feel like they failed in a way, but it's so much easier to blame the other person. So we often go, well, they weren't serious. They were this, they were that. You're gonna label the client in some negative way, right? Rather than thinking, how can I serve them? How can I help them? How can I understand them? And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't about them. It wasn't about you. It wasn't really even about the market. It was just the circumstance, and that the timing just wasn't it wasn't right then, but it became right. So nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely
Thank
done.
you.
Okay, so
Okay.
of course, the way that we always talk, Tina and I'm like, because she thinks like I do. She closes one and then she's like, okay, so what's next? What's next? And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, where's your next one coming from, right? So that's a conversation that we have all the time, and I can be very direct with that about, because that's, again, you like think just like I do, in that you're like, you get one done, you're ready to go out after the next 3. So let's pivot to that. And like I said, so many agents in this market are in this place of, I don't know what to do next. I don't have any houses to hold open. I don't know who to call, or I'm a new agent in my marketplace. I feel like I've exhausted my entire sphere. What do I do? So first of all, what do you think? If an agent comes to you and says, Tina, I don't know where my next lead is coming from, what would you say?
Right now I'm thinking the same type of things, but I look at it in a different way. I think, okay, what has worked for me? What hasn't? And what are other people doing? Mm-hmm. So I think in a market like this, you need to build yourself and stand out more, for whether it's, I'm the queen of downsizing. If you're looking for, downsizing your home, selling your home and finding something, I want to be the person you go to. I want to start marketing myself more in that way. I love doing it. First of all, I love that clientele. But I think this is the time where you go back and you look at doing things a little bit differently. And you also, if you have a mentor like I do, I'm so lucky I can go to Meredith, and right now that's what we want to do, is find out what she would do. But I would tell you what my focus right now is. I'm going back and trying everything. I have gone to every person weekly that I've had at an open house, whether they respond to me or not. I'm still sending them notes, still sending them emails, because once in a while, maybe it'll be 6 months from now, but maybe they'll actually get back to me and say, hey, I'm ready to sell. Mm-hmm. Some people don't respond, but guess what? Don't take it personally. It's just either it's just not the time for them, or, maybe it's not the home for them, but it's more than likely it's probably timing, right? Whatever it is, keep trying. Don't give up on that person. Just a quick, once, even if it's every 2 weeks, send them a note. Hey, thought of you, saw this townhouse. If you'd like to see it, love to show you. I'm free this Thursday and Friday. Let me know what works for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't respond. Other times I've had someone say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah, let's go look at it. I did have somebody say that the other day. I'm like, yes. Did it? It didn't work out. That one didn't. But look, I'm still keeping it alive. I'm keeping the relationship alive.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen. Whether it's tomorrow or 4 months from now, it's going to happen. We're going to find them the home. We're going to have to sale, but I'm not going to give up on them, and I'm not going to give up on myself either, doing my job. But right now, that's what I'm doing, is focusing on that, and also circle dialing. We had a meeting the other day. I've had a few deals just close. This is actually a really good month for me, August. I have a few things closing. I have a listing coming up.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is really right now, I'm gonna go back to the things that I've closed recently that I can go around and circle dial and let people know, hey, whether I was the seller, representing seller or buyer, I'm gonna do both, and talk about what's been going on in the market and how much something's been selling, and also talk to them about interest rate. A huge thing has been this past few months, a lot of my clients since I've started had said interest rates were 6.75, 7.25, I'm not ready. Well, they've dropped right now. We're seeing, they're more like 6.5,
Yes.
and that's great. People want to see that and want to hear that. So that is also going to lead to people becoming more seriously, because everyone's been watching that like a hawk. But again, I think trying things new, and then also doing more marketing for yourself. Right now, I need to get out there with my social media more,
Yes.
and just talk more about the story, what I've done for people, and get people invested, and let people see what I've done for other people, or what you've done for other people, and what you can do.
Love it.
And share that with your family, share that with your sphere, but share that with the world. Share it with who you come to, because I run into people, even my doctor. I was at my doctor's office yesterday, and I was like, I'm so sorry I was late. And she goes, were you just closing on a house? I go, how did you know? I was like, yes, I was. And I had talked to her at the last visit, because she told me she was looking for homes. And she actually had a realtor, but I told her, hey, tell your realtor to get in touch with me, because we do get a lot of homes in the neighborhood. If this is what you're looking for, I'm like, I can definitely help you on the other side.
Oh,
But
awesome.
I'm always talking about it, always. For some way, it just comes up naturally, though, not in like in a way of helping, and not in like a way of pressure. It's more a way of, when you're ready, we always have stuff, but they love hearing about it. Everyone wants to hear about what's going on.
Everybody will talk about real estate all day long. Yes.
So,
Yes.
anyways, let me
Love
stop
it.
there, and let's turn to Meredith, and let's ask her, because she's got so much good stuff to help us right now with what's going on and what we can do in this market to be
Well,
better.
and you brought up such good points. I really love. So one point I heard you make was keeping relationships alive. At its core, real estate is the business of relationships. So when you keep your relationships focused on the other person, and focused on just deepening the trust that is necessary for someone to enter into a real estate relationship with you, I think it's so important. It's funny, I don't know whether you've heard this, Tina, but I have heard people say, well, the person didn't want to work with me because I'm their best friend, or I'm their neighbor. And of course, they don't want to share that confidential information. What comes up for you when you hear that?
I would be the best person to represent you. Who else would want the best for you and have your interest more, at the time? So I would have to have a real one-on-one discussion with that person, and ask them to tell me a little bit about what's going on with them. Because maybe there's something that I don't know, obviously, here. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, but we need to have a real discussion to know what's going on and get from point A to point B.
Exactly, yeah. Did you know that 63% of sellers and buyers choose their agent based on local proximity? That's why farming, or geo-farming, is such a proven method for long-term success in real estate. If you've been considering becoming a farmer or a geo-farmer in your market, but not sure how to get started, check out Farming for Real Estate Agents. This blueprint will walk you through exactly how to choose a geofarm area, how to figure out by running some calculations whether the farm area that you're selecting can support your goals, and will help you track your return on investment. You'll also hear from locally famous farmers who have already dominated their market shares, so you can R&D their secrets and dominate the area that you choose to geofarm. I personally think, and this may not be true 100% of the time, but that for me flags a lack of trust and depth in the relationship. Something's off. If somebody doesn't trust you enough to put the biggest transaction of their lives into your hands, something's wrong. And I agree with you. You gotta peel away the onion and figure out what is happening there. If they don't want to be transparent about something that is super personal or embarrassing, that I get. Sometimes that happens. But I mean, I gotta tell you, I've had people who I have learned things about that they were devastated to share with me. And I'm always like, I am the vault, and this will never go farther than this. And I've done pro bono deals for people that no one will ever know about because they were in such dire straits that they needed a rescue. And once a year, at least, I do one pro bono deal. I never talk about it, nobody knows. And it's just to like put something good out into the universe. But I think one of the things to look at and self-reflect, if people who are close to you are hesitant to engage with you in a real estate service, think about the level of trust that you're engendering and make really sure that it is obvious that your confidentiality is going to be kept intact, that you'll never spill a secret, because that's the fastest way to ruin the possibility of a relationship is you transgress and tell somebody something that they didn't intend for you to share. So that's my little soapbox on that for a second. But the relationship piece, so important. You also talked about circle prospecting, and that is such a good tool right now, because still there are things that are happening that, you know, people think they get the information and at the drop of a hat. People will see the sale sign go up, they'll see the under contract sign go up, they might see for a split second the sold sign go up, but then the sign comes down. And people kind of forget that the house was on the market. So if they had thoughts in the heat of the moment about, oh, I gotta call Tina when I'm ready to sell my house, now your sign's not there, they might not be thinking about it. But even if they forgot about the sale, they are still curious, subconsciously at least, about what the price was. And you have that information. So a lot of people aren't going to go actively into Zillow and look to see what the sold price was. But if you're the one to call them and they're like, oh my gosh, Tina, thank you. And sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, you're calling me. Like, to them, you're famous because your sign and your picture was in front of their house for all those weeks. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for calling me. And it was like, I just wanted to you know, give you the good news. Your neighbor's home sold, and here's what we were able to get for it. And it was a great transaction. And, you know, we had other buyers who buzzed around who were not fortunate enough to get this house. So just kind of wanted to share with you. And so this is the interesting piece where right now we're in a position of being able to get in front of people in a way that might create transactions. And we talked about this a little bit, but circle prospecting is more than calling and saying, here's what your neighbor's home sold for. Are you thinking about making a move? That's not what it should be about. It should be about learning about the human being. So if you're able to keep the focus on that other person and stay in a position of curiosity and service, you might light the spark of a future relationship that could lead to a transaction, could lead to a referral. Sometimes it's a long-term nurture. Sometimes it's way quicker than any of us think. So the way that this looks is, let's say that I'm calling you. Let's do a little role play on this. So Tina, let's pretend like I just sold your neighbor's house. Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Tina?
Yes.
Tina, hi, it's Meredith Fogel with the List Realty. How are you?
I'm good, Meredith. How are you?
I am good. Thanks so much for picking up and taking the time to chat. Hey, calling because you probably noticed the sold sign go down in front of your neighbor's house. Did you see that?
I did. I'm so curious.
Okay, wondering what it sold for?
Yes.
Okay, so drum roll, please. We actually ended up getting 1.5 for that property.
Wow,
Yeah.
That is really amazing. I wonder how much that would be for my home.
Well, I can probably give you a pretty good idea, and we can talk about that in just a second. But yeah, we were really excited. So were you pretty good friends with the neighbors? Did you know them?
We weren't really good friends, but they were always a good neighbor.
Good.
So.
Good. Okay. Yeah. They were you know, sad to leave the neighborhood, but very excited for the price that they got. So it sounds like you're curious about the property value for your home.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay.
Just because 1.5. I mean, they have a larger house than I do.
Okay.
But still, that's good for all of us.
It definitely is. Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah. How long have you been in your house?
We've been here about 7 years.
7 years. And where were you before?
We were in a condo in Bethesda.
Oh, okay. What brought you to the neighborhood?
The kids that we outgrew the space, so they're
yes.
older now, and now they're in high school. So
Makes total sense. Okay. Are you planning to stay in the house for the
Few more-
long term?
a few more years till they graduate.
Okay. What do you love most about it?
Actually, I just love the walking distance, the neighborhood, the camaraderie, just the community in itself. There's nothing like it.
So would you stay in the community if you were to move eventually?
Yeah, I'd probably just downsize.
Yeah. What would be the one thing you would change about the house, if anything?
About my own house?
Yeah.
Well, right now I like the fact that it's bigger, but down the line, if it's just gonna be the two of us, it would just be not having to clean as much.
Not so many
Right?
bathrooms.
Not so many bathrooms.
Such a big kitchen. Yeah.
You know.
That's such a familiar reason that people move, is just to have a little bit less maintenance, a little more free time.
Right. A little more free time, a little
Yeah.
bit more free money, so I can travel a little more with my husband.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Okay, so a few more years, it sounds like, until you're at that point. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you looked at anything in the neighborhood? Some people do, just out of curiosity, go bop around to open houses and just get a sense of what that future ideal home would look like.
Not yet from the inside, just from the outside. Kind of just going down the streets and being like, oh, like I love Hart Road. I think it's adorable, you know?
Those townhouses.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, there's that one rainbow row, as we call it, with all the different shutter colors. So pretty.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I ever know that one of those is coming on the market and I go tour it, or sometimes one goes on the market and I obviously am going to go see it, I'll give you a call and see if you want to go with me, just to like get a sense of what they look like inside.
Yeah, thanks, Meredith.
Okay, yeah, of course.
That sounds really good.
Good. Okay, so what I'll do then is I will also get to work getting an analysis together of your home's value. It's going to be what I call a sticks and bricks analysis. So it'll be based on like square footage, number of bedrooms and bathrooms, lot size, that sort of thing. What it won't take into account are updates, upgrades, improvements you've made to your house. So once I get it done, I'll call you and then I'll come over and just go through it with you. And then I will also take a really quick spin through your house. It does not need to be in showing condition for me. So if kids are home, laundry's on the floor, whatever, don't worry, you don't need to clean up for me. But it'll make it possible for me to give you a very accurate idea of value. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. Okay, so I'll get this done within the next couple of days and then I'll give you a call and come over and take a look and tell you what I've come up with.
Okay, that sounds
All right,
good.
thanks for chatting with me. Have a great day.
You thanks.
All right, so you made it easy for me. Thank you for doing that. But that is very much how those conversations can go when you ask the right questions, call the neighbor. Notice I didn't launch right into anything, even though you opened the door for me and I could have just gone right through that door to, okay, I'll get you a value analysis. I wanted to take the time to learn more about what your plans and thoughts were first. And I wanted to also, I'm always thinking like, can I get you into a house? Can I get into, like, show you some things? Because I always go preview everything that's in the market right now. And this is another kind of like an overlap with this kind of a call and your sphere of influence. So when you're calling your sphere and you have those people, whether they are just curious people or whether they are potentially planning to make a move sometime in the future, isn't it more fun to take somebody with you to go preview houses?
It is.
So especially if you have somebody who I call one of your ambassadors. And ambassadors are the people who will sing your praises all day long. They might also be like frustrated real estate agents. You know, they've always wanted to be a real estate agent, but they've never actually gotten to that point. But you are able then to make them feel special, take them with you. It's more fun to have them go with you anyway. And then they remember what you do. So if you have a friend who knows a lot of people and also likes to go look at other houses, call that person and be like, hey, if it's you, Tina, I'm going over to see 123 Main Street. I'm gonna go preview it. Any chance you wanna pop over there with me? I'd love to go take somebody with me and not just do it by myself. And you know, you always like to look at houses and get ideas for things for your house. I wanna go? Sure, right? Of course you will. And then you'll come back and guess what? The next conversation that you get in, you'll be like, oh my gosh, Meredith took me over. They'll be like, why did she take you to see? I just kind of like to look at houses. And then they'll make that connection for you. They'll say, oh, because we were looking for something like that. Then you gotta call Meredith, right? So it's a great way to be of extra service to people and just like grab that extra connectivity.
Love that idea.
So kind of think creatively about that. I want to also talk about open houses just briefly. So even if you don't have your own listing to hold open, see whether there is somebody else in your brokerage or office or on your team whose listing you can hold open. Those open houses are a gold mine. And we've done lots and lots of episodes about how to convert open house visitors into future buyers. So you can go back and look through our history and find the episodes on that. But that remains one of the most solid sources for leads in any market. It's a way to meet people. It's a way to meet future buyers, future sellers. It's a great way to meet as well. When you follow the process, you market the heck out of it so you get people in, and then you do the right thing to build rapport while you're in the open house, and then the follow-up is where all the gravy is, making sure that you're converting that conversation into a future relationship that will lead to a transaction. So those two things, the circle dialing and the open houses. And then the other thing I think is, did you hear the problem-inducing question that I asked when we had that conversation? I asked you what you liked about the house. So this is great if you're using any kind of an online lead generation tool, which some of you are, some of you have access to that through your brokerage, some of you are going to pay for online lead generation tools, and we know those things are typically not all that high intent. So what we need to do is do a better job of having a conversation that creates intent. And here's how that happens. You call, let's say it's not a circle prospect. Let's say you're just like an online lead who owns a house, and in the exact same manner that I've demonstrated before, I call you and I ask you a few questions about, what's making you think about making a move right now, how long have you been in the house, and then, well, what do you like most about your current house? Or sometimes people say to you, but I'm not moving now. I'm just curious. I just wanted to know what the value is. Okay, that's great. So it sounds like you love your house. What do you like most about it? What would you change if you could change one thing? And that's the problem-inducing question. That's the thing that opens their minds, and then you go just down that exact same path. Well, you know what? I always say to people when I have this conversation, and this is really true, I will say, it's so weird how many times I'll have this conversation with somebody, and the next 5 minutes I get a phone call from the seller who has the house that you just described. It's like uncanny how often that happens. It might not happen, but if it does, Tina, you'll be the first to know. I'll give you a call. We can go over and take a look at it, and maybe it's the right time, maybe it's not, but at least you'll have more information. How does that sound, right? So that's the way that we create the opportunity for future relationships through conversation.
I totally agree. I just want to piggyback on one thing.
Yes.
The whole open house thing. So one thing I've learned is when you do host an open house, whether it's for yourself or for another agent, this is so important that you show yourself in the best light. First, everything from the way you dress, the way you look, from your knowledge about everything that's going on in the market.
Yeah.
You at that point need to show that you are the resource for these people and you know everything that's going on. You should know right off the top of your head every listing in the area, because if they're going to yours, they're probably going to go to the others. You should know the differences between these. You should also know what's coming up. So when you're having these conversations, ask them, talk to them. Don't talk about yourself. Find out more about what they're looking for, and then be able to give them information that only you, show your value, would know. Be knowledgeable. Don't be like, oh, I'm not really sure, and don't not know the answers. What I mean by that is try to have a whole grasp of everything that's going around in your community that's for sale, and know what's coming for sale. Talk to other people, know what the mortgage rates are, have that contact person or their card, so you can say, be the source for everything is what I'm trying to say. Those 5, 10, 15 minutes you have, make it count. I've got to tell you, use it to your advantage and be there and show them why they should work for you. Why are you going to stand out?
Great advice, yeah. And I will also say, if you're thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to know everything, right? Here's the thing on that. You don't have to know everything. You absolutely should know what's going on in the market, what's for sale in the neighborhood that you're holding the house open in. You should preview the house before, know all the data and facts about the house. But there will inevitably be that person who asks you something that you just don't know or can't find out in that moment. It always happens. So when that happens, I actually love it because it gives you the opportunity to circle back. Yeah, so you're like, you know what? That's a great question. I actually don't have that information right now, but I'll get it for you. Let me double check that the contact information that you gave me is correct, or I can read it. Okay, so is this the right phone number for you? Fabulous. So here's what I'll do. The second that I'm done holding this house open, I'm gonna find that out for you, and then I will give you a call. Will you be free between 3 and 4 today? Great way to follow up with people.
Yes,
yeah.
Totally agree.
Love that though, great. Okay, the last thing I want to give you, we're going over time a little bit here, but is an idea from the book that we're reading together right now, which is the 7 Levels of Communication. And this is all about having more conversation. So if there's one general piece of advice I would give everybody listening who is in the position of wanting more business right now, have more conversations. That's how it happens. So one of the ways that you can do that is to schedule a coffee or lunch with somebody who is in your database or your sphere of influence, or one of those ambassadors that we described who has access to lots of people. Make sure you describe to them what it's going to look like, which is a brief coffee. It's not a 3-hour chat. It's like a half an hour. I've got like a half an hour on Friday. I would love to sit down with you, treat you a cup of coffee, find out what's going on in your world. and then make it all about them. So again, you're thinking of them as a relationship that you want to further. And the way this looks is you ask them, they call it in the 7 levels, the frog questions, which is family, recreation, occupation, and goals. So ask them questions all around those things. Right now it's a great time, it's the end of the summer, so what did you do this summer? What are your goals for the fall? If they have kids, what's school looking like for everybody? And then you end the conversation by saying, so there's 2 things you can say. One is, let me ask you, if somebody asked you right now, if they wanted to buy or sell a house, who would you recommend? Who would you say? And then you're quiet and let them answer. And if they don't say you need to get very composed and not react to that. But what you can say is, totally understandable, what could I do to earn your business? Or what could I do to become that person for you? And then let them answer. And then you cap off the conversation by saying, and how can I help you right now? Right? Then you offer to help them. So that's the thing. It's make it all about them, ask that one question so it sparks that thought in their mind, and then offer to help them, and whatever they say, go take action. So if it's, I was looking for a recommendation for somebody to fix the brick outside of my house, go back and make it your job to find a good brick mason, even if they said another agent's name, because guess what? When you become the resource for them, you might also become their future agent. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love that. I think it's really good. I think we've given a lot of good advice.
This is a lot. Yes, this is a lot.
So good stuff.
I hope that if you are in that position where you are not sure where your next transaction is coming from, concentrate on the person. Don't call them leads, don't call them transactions. Concentrate on people, furthering your relationship with human beings. That's what will lead you to future success. The other very last thing I want to give you is get out and be of service. Go find something to do in your community, to give back, volunteer, chair some kind of an event, sponsor and be at some kind of an event. That's another really great way to initiate that law of universal reciprocity that's going to bring good things back to you. So hope this has been good. I hope you guys take some of this or just one of these ideas and run with them and experience beautiful success. We are coming into what I think is going to be a market of opportunity as rates come down a little bit and we head into the fall. Tina, thank you for everything you shared. Thank you for listening or watching today. Please feel free to give us show ideas, send us your comments. Please also leave us a review or a rating on the platform on which you are listening. It would mean the world to us. Thank you so much for being here today. This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. That was good. That was really good. That's going to help a lot of people. Yes. Thank you.
Sure. I meant to say, because what I'm doing now is also going back